Time for an end of the year book tag. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got for you an end of the year book tag. This is another book tag. I have not done a book tag in a little while now. I don't remember the last one I did. Yeah, so this is an end of the year one. There is a slight change in one of the questions because this was something that was supposed it was like a pre-fall thing. So like one of the questions is I'll explain when I get to the question. But I did a slight change to it. If you like stuff like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into this tag with the first question. Alright, so there are 6 questions, and I will be reading them from my phone. First one is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? So technically there are 3 King books that I have started, but technically I started them all last year, so those do not count. I am currently in the middle of The Terror by Dan Simmons. So this is a book that I have started and I would like to finish because it's actually been a pretty intriguing story thus far. And it's very wintry, it's very it's honestly been a pretty good story so far. I want to continue this. I put this on the back burner because of the Wheel of Time book I read, The Eye of the World, which was a pretty solid book. But I put this on the back burner so I can do that. But this is something that I would like to finish this year because it has been an intriguing story, and it's a lot of people kind of talk about it. I mean, not like a bunch, but I know a lot of people actually enjoy this book, and I would like to be one of those people. So, book I need to finish by the end of the year, The Terror by Dan Simmons. Alright, this is the question I kind of changed, but this is what it says. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So it's supposed to be like an autumn type book, but I'm switching it to a winter type book because we're pretty much past autumn now. Halloween's over, we're getting close to Thanksgiving. So at this point, might as well just pick a book that's going to be snow related. And since The Terror was already included in the first question, I'm going to put Voices in the Snow by Darcy Coates in this one. So this is book 1 of a 4-book series called The Black Winter. It's a Black Winter novel. It's a Black Winter series by Darcy Coates. There are 3 other books in this series. I'm not going to try and name them for you because I don't remember them off the top of my head. But obviously you guys know Darcy Coates has been a surprise author for me on this channel, and she has just been a phenomenal author in general for me. And this is one of her winter type books, and so I figured I would switch autumn with winter because we're transitioning into winter. So Voices in the Snow is going to be my pick for that, and I mean the cover just looks really sick. I mean all 4 covers of this series are pretty cool looking. So, but yeah, question number 2, Voices in the Snow by Darcy Coates. Alright, question number 3. Is there a new release you're still waiting for? So this book has got a release month for December of 2021. There's no labeled date yet, but it's Ghoul in the Cape by Josh Malerman. So I'm pretty excited for this because Josh Malerman has been a good author for me. Obviously there's been some ups and downs, but ultimately, you know, Bird Box, Mallory have been phenomenal. Couple that have not hit home with me, but this one sounds intriguing. Let me read a little bit about this. An interstellar story, a slasher story, a late bloomer coming of age story, and an American story too. An unclassifiable epic experience that promises to change the titular duo even as it changes those who read it. It sounds intriguing. Cover looks pretty cool. We're going to put that up here. I don't know if we already have or not, but cover will be up here. And again, it's a Josh Malerman book. It's been kind of 50-50, so let's see if he can get in the winning side. So there you have Ghoul in the Cape by Josh Malerman. Alright, question number 4. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Well, I got to limit myself to just 3, so that's exciting. So I've got 3 books here that I obviously want to read by the end of the year, besides The Terror. The first one is The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. This is book 2 of the Wheel of Time series, and I did a review of The Eye of the World. If you've not seen that video, check it out up here, because that's book 1, obviously. And by what people have said, the first book to me was like a 4-star. It didn't really it was my first like true fantasy book. I say that a lot in the video, and so didn't really hit a whole lot of home runs for me, but it was a pretty solid story. But a lot of people say the second one is where he kind of lifts off with this series and really kind of makes it the Wheel of Time. Obviously, there are a couple of hiccups by what people have told me, like books 7, 8, 9, or something like that. But before I get there, I got to read book 2, and that is The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. And that will transition me into the second book I would like to get to, and that is one that was part of the 100 book, my book 100 vote that we had towards the end of October. And that is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I have seen the movie, and it is one of the best movies I've ever seen. And the book itself, I don't know a whole lot about it, but if the movie is based pretty much off of this, then I'm sure this is going to be a phenomenal book. This, I think, came in second in the voting for 100th book of the year. Needful Things ended up winning, obviously, as you guys have seen. But this was a close second. I think it lost by maybe like 9, 8 votes. It was a pretty high scoring event. But this book, I have really been intrigued with it, and I really would like to read it. Just because obviously I've seen the movie, I know the movie's phenomenal. So there you have the second book I'd like to read by the end of the year, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, which leads me into my third book. This is one that I started last year, or 2 years ago, honestly, at this point. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to need to restart it. I was like 120-something pages into it. I remember nothing about the story because I just really gave up on it. And that is Insomnia by Stephen King. A lot of you guys... Let me put this down because it's kind of heavy. A lot of you guys really praised the heck out of this book. And a lot of you guys say there's a lot of Dark Tower references in this book. It's a lot of people's in their top 5 favorite books of all time by him. It's in their top 10. It's an overall favorite book that a lot of people enjoy, and I DNF'd it 2 years ago. I'm starting to get to the point where my King catalog that I still need to read is chunkier rather than thinner. I've got a lot of big books left I still need to read. The Talisman, Under the Dome, Insomnia, 1122, Sleeping Beauties. I've got a lot of big books I need to get out of the way. And I figure by the end of the year, I would like to try and knock off another one. A close second place for this would have been 112263, but I think Insomnia is one that I need to get out of the way. Because with you guys voting on Needful Things, it's a book I didn't really have high expectations for. Ended up being a 5-star book and ended up in my top 10 Stephen King books of all time. And so a lot of you guys say Insomnia is kind of the same way. So who knows? Maybe that can mess up my top 10 again. But yeah, so Insomnia, definitely a book I want to get to by the end of the year. So Insomnia by Stephen King. All right, we're on to question 5. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Well, I talked about one of them in that last one that could possibly be it, Gone Girl, or Insomnia. Who knows? There's a lot of books that could shock me and end up being a top contender. But the one I'm going to pick is Parasite by Darcy Coates. The reason I'm doing this book as a top contender is because I have dipped into the science fiction this year with Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And that book could possibly be the best book I've read this year, in all honesty. And Parasite is Darcy Coates' take on like a science fiction horror type thing. And I honestly, it could pass up because it's got horror aspects in it. You never know. That's why I'm kind of putting it here, because it's science fiction. Science fiction surprised the heck out of me earlier with Project Hail Mary, and throwing in a little bit of horror aspect and a little Darcy Coates in it. Get those 3 things together, you could end up with a top contender for the year. So, book I think that could end up being my all-time favorite this year, I'm going to put as Parasite by Darcy Coates. Alright, the final question. Question 6. Have you already started making reading plans for next year? So I eventually, for December, will be making a video for my reading goals for 2022, which obviously that's usually a December video. I did one last year for this year. When I readdress it for my 2021 like wrap up year thing, I'll be able to kind of see how close I was to the goal. Obviously, I beat the goal for books I wanted to read this year. I outdid the 2 year ago mark. But the main goal I got like 3 main topics I want to get to, and that I'm going to go over them kind of briefly in this video. I want to dip into more fantasy, science fiction type stuff. Obviously, with me trying to do the Wheel of Time, that is a big contender. I want to get into other stuff, Brandon Sanderson, Brent Weeks, Lord of the Rings. There's all sorts of fantasy stuff I would like to get into. I would also like to get to more horror books. I think I want to dip more into like pure horror, like Dracula, Frankenstein I gotta read. That's for darn sure. I gotta get to that. And the other goal I want to have is I don't want to say finish all of the Stephen King books by next year, but I would like to get it to where I'm maybe like a handful away from finishing them. I don't remember how many I've got left. I've got maybe 20. I'm within 20 maybe. So there's a very solid chance I could probably finish it. I don't doubt it, but for some reason, in case I don't, then I want to have maybe like 1 or 2 going into 2023. But yeah, it's pretty much the goals I really have. Obviously, with the video, I'll go more in depth with what I would like to do, but those are kind of some basic points I want to get across. So there you have the answer for question 6. So yes, I would say yes, I have started making plans for 2022. Alright guys, thank you for watching. If you want to answer some of these questions yourself and let me know in the comments down below, we will have the questions linked down below so you can take a look at them if you would like. But yeah, otherwise don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.